The Big Small Business Show is proudly brought to you by Syca. Choose a difference maker, choose a chartered accountant.
The Big Small Business Show, proudly sponsored by MTN Business.
Welcome to the Big Small Business Show and welcome to the early part of 2024. I hope this year is starting good for you. It's certainly starting good for me. And it's starting with a lot of discussion around AI. Towards the end of last year, based on the release of ChatGPT, everyone was talking about AI, and many people spoke about it as if they knew what they were talking about, and most of them didn't. And so last year we brought in Jess Dworcan, who is a specialist on AI, into studio to explain this concept of AI. And I've invited him again this year to speak to us about AI, what have been the developments between last year and this year, and for us to better understand, in particular, how we can apply AI in our businesses. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you for having me on the show, Allon.
So before we start with AI, I want us to go back conceptually to another concept called machine learning, okay? Because I think that there's a relationship between the two.
Yes, definitely.
What is machine learning?
Machine learning is the process in which computers learn. So to break that down for you, if you gave a computer a task, a job to do, to go from A to B, but you didn't tell the computer how to get from A to B. You just told it that if it moves closer in the direction of B, it's good, and if it moves away in the direction of B, it's bad, then it'll figure out the patterns that it needs to get to from A to B. So during that process, it might find itself running away and then realize, oh, I'm not going in the right direction. And iteratively, it'll learn the quickest way from A to B.
So give us an example of how practically machine learning is used in our everyday life.
So in our everyday life, machine learning can be used in all the different types of AIs that we interact with. It's a subset of AI. We need to think of machine learning not as AI, but a subset of AI, which involves multiple different styles of learning. So one style could be labeling or human interaction. I've discussed this before on the show, which ChatGPT employs to tell an output whether it's good or bad. Other ways are different algorithms, and essentially the way SARS might be using AI to detect fraud is through multiple repetitions of algorithms playing out and learning what fraud could look like. So really, it's all around us, and we're experiencing it wherever we find computers and AI today.
Okay, so let's move on to robots, right? So robots are programmed to do things. Is that right? Or are robots now doing things of their own volition?
That's a good question. So it brings to mind a story of a robotic arm in Silicon Valley. In fact, a room full of robotic arms in Silicon Valley, where the arm was tasked to pick up a very specific item which was in front of it. The robotic arm has a camera, so it can view the items in front of it, and it was tasked to pick up a yellow ball. And for many weeks, it couldn't do it. It had to figure out how to close its hand and open its hand first. All it was told to do was pick up the yellow ball. And through the process of learning, eventually, it bent down one day, picked up the yellow ball, and held it in its hand and showed it to the camera very proudly, saying, "I've got the ball." That very soon turned into an engineer prompting the robotic arm to pick up the prehistoric object, which was a little toy dinosaur in front of it. And it picked up the toy dinosaur and showed it to the camera. And it opens up this entire world of possibility where we could potentially see robots building other robots. Think of Terminator-style future that we could see here. And essentially, we might even see our baristas at the coffee shop replaced with robots making coffee for us, or robots that currently are already making cars, but employ AI to make the hair minute decision as to the placement of how to screw in a bolt, for example.
We're moving to this concept of sentience, which is consciousness, right? Or innate intelligence. It's really about consciousness, right?
Could very well be.
Do you think that robots or AI software will become sentient?
So whether you're asking if it can think for itself as sentience, then yes, it can. Does it have a soul? That's perhaps another question to ask. But yes, these robots or these models of AI are starting to think. They do begin to have personalities. Some work in different ways than others. And I think we are moving forward towards AI, which is sentient, that can do an everything. An AGI, for example.
AGI?
Artificial General Intelligence.
Which means?
Which means an AI that knows everything, can do everything, understands everything. It isn't limited to text only or image only. It is multimodal, which we are seeing today in what Google recently announced, which is Gemini, where it involves text and audio and images all together in one.
Which is what we can do as humans. We can read, we can see, we can hear, and we synthesize all that information. We can feel, and we can synthesize all that information. So what I'm hearing you say is that in the next couple of years, we're going to have some sentient type of machine that will replace our jobs? Question mark?
Yeah, replacing our jobs is a small fraction of the potential of what something like that can do. But I guess if we're thinking as to how it can affect us, replacing our jobs, yes. Also potentially an Armageddon, hypothetical. But yeah.
I need to be reminded not to invite you back to the show talking about Armageddon on the show. Well, we're going to have to take a break now. When we're back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the impact of artificial intelligence and machine learning and robotics on our businesses and on jobs. And if you're in a job, will it affect your job? Will it enhance your job? Will it become a tool? Stay tuned to find out.